Hey, it's Heidi Dawson, and this is Wednesday Wisdom, where I interview wildly successful people from across the world, where we get an inside view into what their daily life looks like. Success leaves clues, and on Wednesdays, we're finding them. Join me now for the latest wildly successful interview. Hi, guys, and welcome to the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. And also, it's Wednesday Wisdom. I'm super excited about today's guest. If you follow her on Instagram, you already know she's beautiful, strong, and extremely stylish. If I could describe my first impression when I saw her Instagram, it would be stunning and fearless. Seriously. And now after really diving into everything that she's into, I see that it goes way deeper than that. And I love that. So I'd like to introduce my guest, Jaclyn. Jack Flash also is your superhero name. So that's so fun. And I have to say this, when I first started following you, you were blonde, right? Mm-hmm. And I was blown away when you went with the color that you are now. I mean, did you get a lot of response from that? Because it is so beautiful. The color, is it red, auburn?
I don't know anymore. I'm so low maintenance with especially when it comes to my hair and makeup in general, only because I don't know how to do anything. And I go to the hairdresser once every year and a half. As you can see, I don't know how to get a haircut. Changing my hair color
would mind that you're saying that, because I look at your hair on the Instagram, and when you went red, I just went, oh my goodness, that is the most beautiful color on you. Like, not everybody can wear that because it's such a bold color, but it looks really good. You were beautiful as blonde, but it just, I don't know, as red, it was just like, wow, stunning.
It's a pretty big change, but I love it.
I know. Well, you should. It's beautiful. So, you obviously have a fierce workout routine, but this is a question that I love to ask everybody. Do you have a regular morning routine that you do consistently?
I typically don't work out first thing in the morning. I wake up and I'm one of those people that can't get anything done unless my surroundings are completely organized and clear, and I need to eat as soon as I wake up or else I'm faint worthy. So I always clean everything, get ready, get dressed, and then go downstairs, eat, and then depending on what I have during the day, I like doing a meditation and starting off a bit slow. And then I'll have my fitness training sessions. It kind of varies, to be honest. Sometimes I'll have it at 10, sometimes it'll be noon, and sometimes it'll be 9 p.m. So yeah, very.
I really like that you say that, because I talked to a few people, because I interview a lot of people, right? And some of them work out fasted, they don't eat, and when they wake up they don't eat. The first thing I do when I wake up is eat.
Same. I need to.
Otherwise, I'm no good. That makes me feel good that you say that. And also, your fitness routine, I see it on Instagram. It has to be impressive, right? So, can you give us a little insight? What is your workout? What do you work out 6 days a week, or how many days on weights?
I, to be honest, work out twice a week doing weight training with a personal trainer.
Okay.
Powered by Fitness is the gym that I work out at, and Powered by Wong is my trainer. And I do, that's heavier weightlifting, and then I just do one boot camp. So I'm really only working out 3 times a week.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Most people think I'm working out 6 days a week, but I'm not. So my partner and I've been trying to conceive for over 2.5 years. So I'm trying to stay fit, stay balanced, but still, keep up my workout routine and feel strong. So it's it's all about balance. I do a lot of yoga too.
Yeah. So that sounds like a really balanced routine. Now for me, I just love to work out. So I do work out 6 days a week, but I make sure 2 days of those it's yoga.
Yeah.
And so it's really stretching, and I can tell if I missed a yoga session, I could tell.
Oh my God, me too.
Yeah, I mean, it really does. It kind of just gets centered.
Yeah, everything changes when a couple weeks ago, I skipped out on my yoga. I was like, oh, I don't need to do it. It's not a necessity this week. And my immune system was down. I was so stressed. I wasn't sleeping properly. Yoga is like, I do Kundalini yoga as well. So like meditation, breath work, that kind of stuff. And it has a huge impact on my life.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, good. I like, almost everybody has a meditation routine that I interview. It's so interesting. I definitely love
Mhm.
that about, like, your website is beautiful and it has a very calming sort of meditation feel. But it's Jack Flash. So I know that there's got to be some story behind Jack Flash, the name. It's so awesome. So tell us all about it.
It's a long story because it's been 12 years in the making, but it started out as a clothing store on a street called Queen Street, which is like a main street in Toronto. And it was a fashion boutique where the name Jumping Jack Flash is a Rolling Stone song.
Oh,
So
okay.
it was inspired 12 years ago by like rock and roll and the flash of the paparazzi lights and just being like flashy. And yeah, music is a huge influence on me as well because I was an opera singer and I love music. My major in university was opera singing.
Oh, wow.
So that's where Jack Flash originally came from, my clothing store. And then when I decided to close my clothing store because for various reasons, but mainly because I just was not happy. Like I wasn't waking up in the morning excited and jumping out of bed and saying, yes, like I'm so excited for this day. I just was waking up like, oh, I have to go to the store and sit there and put in the SKUs and, talk to, like, I just was not feeling it anymore. So I knew I had to make a change. So I decided to close my clothing store. And I moved houses at the time. So I moved into a house that was like kind of a creepy, haunted looking house. And my family and friends thought I was crazy for moving into this house. But that's what my budget allowed. And I wanted a backyard for my big old dog at the time. So I moved into the space, and within 2 weeks, I completely redecorated the whole space, painted it, put in paneling, changed the fixtures, did it all. And my friends and family came back, and they were like, "How did you transform
Oh,
this space? Can
wow.
you
Yeah.
lie?" So from there is how I started Spaces by Jack Flash, which is my interior design company. And I
Right.
started out just small decor on my own. I hired someone on Kijiji to do $40 a pop floor plans for me, and then slowly just grew from there. And now I do full renovations, commercial, residential, and yeah. So
I
that's
love that.
by Jack Flash. Yep. And then from there, Fitness by Jack Flash came to be.
That's so awesome. I love the fact that, and this is another thing that I have found that is pretty standard with people that I interview. If they don't enjoy something they're doing, or they're not feel like they're on the right path, they change it.
Yep.
Sometimes people get into a rut and they think, I can't change it. Like, this is what I've done. This is where I'm, my lot in life. So they just stay there. And it's so important to be able to pivot when you realize you're not on the path that you're meant to be on. So
Yeah.
that's so wonderful. I'm glad that we talked about that. So another one of your passions that I saw on your website is empowering women to become powerhouse entrepreneurs. And I love the word powerhouse. Like, I love that so much. It says something. So how would you define a powerhouse entrepreneur?
A powerhouse entrepreneur, I would just say someone who doesn't care what others think, who doesn't believe in failure in the respect where everything that you do that is, even if it's not quote unquote successful or some form of financial success, it's not a failure because you're learning from it and you're growing from it, and
Right.
something else will come of it. So powerhouse entrepreneur to me is someone who just doesn't give up and keeps going and doesn't take no for an answer, and yeah, just follows their own heart.
Yeah, that's good. You know, I have a mentor coach that I worked with, and she used to always say, there's no lose, there's no fail. You either succeed or you learn.
Yeah.
And as long as you have that mentality, then failure shouldn't scare you because you're going to learn. You're either going to win or you're going to learn. And I love that because it helps me when I fail or at something. I'm like, well, what did I learn from that? Because I know I can learn something. So, all right. So you got your start in the fashion industry, and you are now, like we just said, an interior designer. It's obvious from your Instagram page that you have impeccable taste. Now, I love fashion as well, and sometimes it can be a challenge to like find really great outfits. Which you always have great outfits on Instagram. Do you have a favorite store online where you shop? Because you're in Canada, so we obviously, unless at one point we're gonna make it over there to Canada. But do you have an online store that you shop at or a style site?
Um, oh man, honestly, lately Etsy has been
Oh,
a big one for me, and eBay
that's for clothes.
surprisingly. So
Etsy.
I find that like now I'm not so into trends. I'm more into like pieces that I really love. And for example, I just recently purchased a pair of like super vintage Converse off of eBay that are like totally beat up, but they're so cool. And then I also bought this pair of blue cat eye sunglasses on eBay that are secondhand. So I like kind of doing thrifty stuff and then pairing them with like basics like jeans and a white t-shirt, or I really like biker legging shorts just because they're so comfortable. I don't even know what
I
I'm
have you put those
for,
with
but
you have those with combat boots and like a army green jacket on one of your pictures, and I love that. Like I have a very classic style. I love to mix it up. Like I'll do rocker t-shirts and things. I have yet to I don't know that I could do the biker shorts, but they look really good on you, and I love those outfits when you pull it. You can really pull it off, which is so great. So okay, so Etsy and eBay, I'll have to look at that because I haven't really, I've done some interior design things off Etsy.
Mhm.
I did some baskets from Africa that I love
Oh, that's
from
cool.
Etsy. Yeah. So okay. So now let's talk a little bit about the engagement on Instagram. Like one of your posts that got a lot of engagement is where you're sort of close up and you talk about scrolling Instagram and sort of like people comparing or
Mhm.
feeling less than. And I've talked about this a lot in my podcast because I think it's a problem that has always been around, but now with social media, it's amplified. How do you encourage women and men too, because it happens with them too, to move past the feelings of feeling like others seemingly have it so much better?
Well, that's a huge one, especially for me, because I still do sometimes, but often I used to scroll through Instagram and see so many women that I grew up with, and women that I know now with full families or pregnancy announcements. And I would sit there and just be so down on myself that I still don't have a family, and that, we've been trying to conceive for a couple years now, and so frustrated, like, why me? Why is this taking so long? But then once I started talking to women, everybody wants what somebody else has. So a lot of those mothers who have 2 or 3 kids that I'm so envious of are messaging me saying, "Oh, I love that you're an entrepreneur and that you have so much going on when it comes to business. And I would love to be an interior designer. I'm so jealous that you get to be a designer and wake up every morning and do what you love to do in that respect." And just the grass is always greener on
Yeah.
the other side, and you just can't compare yourselves to other people because everybody is going through something.
Right.
And Instagram, everybody knows that Instagram is just a highlight reel,
Right.
and you can't base someone's life off of an image that you see on their Instagram.
It's so true. I mean, I have known actual people where I'm like, oh, it's kind of not their life at all, but you would look at it and think, wow. But that's, and it's okay. I always say, if it makes you feel better, people do what they're going to do to make themselves feel something. And on Instagram, I'm always like, okay, do what makes you feel good. But because what you're doing should have no effect on someone else. So we're responsible for ourselves. And like, if I'm scrolling and I'm looking at someone else, I can't get irritated at them because they're posting that picture, because they posted it because they're proud of it. So I have to take care of my own self and go, what do I have that's great? Like that's great. And so I love that. And I think that everyone's going through something. And I love that you talk about that. So, all right. So you also say that you're half wellness hippie and half entrepreneur. And I think that we're kindred spirits with that, because we actually are, because I'm also an interior designer and I love wellness. And I mean, it's just, that's kind of a nice combination as a woman entrepreneur to be able to love wellness too, because you take care of yourself. And sometimes people think, oh, well, to be successful, you have to work, 12 hours a day or whatever. But, part of success, the biggest part is being happy and having wellness. So how do you describe wellness? Because it's a word that can take on different meanings.
Well, I think wellness to me is balance. So everything from, if I'm gonna, some days I do have to work 16-hour days, but as long as I am balancing that with, eating healthy during those times, or getting a good sleep that night, or, taking the next day off and just fully relaxing, it is all about balance to me. And those days when I don't feel balanced and I'm not taking that extra time to be more balanced, I really, really can feel it in every way. My emotional clarity, and physically, I often get sick during those times when I'm not balancing myself. Or
right,
yeah, like, you have to stay balanced, and it's just something that you're constantly working at.
Okay, so I think that that is a great point, because balance is so many times when we're working 16 hours, because we all have, I mean, like, if you are an entrepreneur, there are days, like you said, but to be able to balance that. And I tend to be drawn to women for my podcast that are feminine as well. And sometimes feminine women, we, I don't know, stress, we have to take time down. We have to make sure that we take care of ourselves as well, because we're not, I don't know. I don't feel like I was made for 16-hour days.
I know. Well, I think all people, I think that's another thing, balancing your because everyone has a masculine and everyone has a feminine side. So masculine could be perceived at, like, working hard and being an entrepreneur, or heavy weightlifting, but then you have to balance that with your feminine side as well, which can include things that I'll do is like singing, or I'll literally close the door in my room, and my partner thinks I'm crazy, but I'll blast some Kundalini yoga music, and I'll just dance and let my body flow and be free. And that's another way to balance your masculine and your feminine.
Yeah, it's so true. I agree. I think sometimes I'm, because I've gone through phases where I have been just really driven in business, and I'm to the point to where I'm so busy and I'm like, I don't like who I am right now. I feel it's too much of the masculine side. And so it's nice to be able to express that. That's beautiful. So, all right, now I've not been to Canada, but my husband loves it, and he swears that we're going to go visit soon. Hopefully when everything goes back to kind of normal. And I know everybody talks about this is our new normal. I choose not to believe that. But how are Canadians handling the coronavirus? And are things kind of going back to normal there, or what's going on in Canada?
We are in stage 2, so I think we're working our way towards stage 3, but we have restaurants open, but you can't sit inside the restaurants yet. So we have patios set up outside.
Okay.
I think we've filled, like, what I do during the day is, like, we've got beaches in the city, so just doing things like going for walks and parks and beaches and barbecues with a small group of friends. And so everything's not back to normal, but I think that people are learning how, like you were saying, it's a new normal, and people are learning how to thrive in this new way of life and be happy. And I think in Toronto specifically, it's been kind of nice having a break of
Yeah.
nightclubs and
Okay.
that kind of lifestyle as well, because um, I think it was getting to be a bit much. Toronto was becoming like a huge club based industry and city, and it's kind of nice to have a break.
It's calmed down. You know,
Yeah,
I've heard that too. Like Venice, Italy, and then other places, they're breathing.
yeah,
It's being able to breathe, because I know when I was there, it's just so many people in one little bitty place. So
yeah.
now they're getting to breathe, and I'm kind of like, they're probably not going to want anybody back. You never know. It could be this. We don't know the changes that this is taking place, is going to put into effect long term.
But
So,
I think that people in general, all around the world, are kind of living a more healthy and balanced
right.
life.
That's, I
People are
think we
drinking
needed, I think it was a break that
alcohol.
needed.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. I think I will say this. I have heard, and I don't know if this maybe is just, maybe it's America, I don't know, but some people have felt like they're eating more and drinking a little bit more here, because they're kind of locked in their house. So I don't know. I've been very cognizant of it. I've been trying to really do self-care so that I don't get, caught up into anything. And so I don't know. I think people for the first time are realizing, okay, this could go on forever. So we have to start taking control of our
Mhm.
lives again. So,
Yeah.
okay, good. All right. So now, do you have a favorite book or podcast that we should all know about that you love?
Well, my favorite book, one that I read like once every 6 months as an audiobook, and I just always have it in the back, is A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle.
Oh, I love Eckhart Tolle. Is it now he when I watch him and listen to him, sometimes I'm like, I have to sit and think about what he means. How is his writing? I mean, is it an easy read, or is it you really have to like take in each word?
Um, it's not easy per se, but if you really just like concentrate on it and hone in on what he's saying, then it's easily understandable, I think. But I think Oprah did a podcast with him. I think it was with A New Earth as well. And it's kind of helpful to listen to that podcast as you're reading, because it kind of breaks everything down and she goes through each chapter.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I will find that. That sounds like something that I would love. All
Yeah.
right, good. Because Eckhart Tolle, like a lot of his the sayings and the things that I have found from him are so deep. I
Mhm.
have to be in a certain place to let it in. So, okay, that's awesome. I will go and check out that podcast by Oprah, because that sounds really, really fun. I mean, it sounds like something that I could learn from. So, all right, last but not least, knowing what you know now, like what is one piece of advice that you would give yourself when you were just starting out? Like when you were just starting out, maybe before your clothing store even, or after, whenever.
I would say my biggest piece of advice to anyone and to myself would be not to care what other people think,
Okay.
and to just do what makes you happy every day. And um, you will be successful, whether it's financially or mentally and emotionally successful. You will definitely thrive if you just do what makes you happy and not worry about what other people are thinking or saying to you.
That's I have a book by, I don't know if you know who Ed Lattimore is, but he's real big on Twitter, and he has a book called "Not Caring What People Think Is a Superpower."
Oh.
And I haven't read it yet, but I started it. But I have like 4 books, so I kind of go right now that I'm reading. So I kind of go back and forth, but he talks about that. Like, nobody's coming to save you. You are responsible for your own mind. And I love that. So that goes right along with everything that we're sort of talking about. Okay, well, this has been so much fun. I mean, I love how calm you are, because sometimes I have a tendency to be like, blah, but you're so calm that you kind of calm me down.
That you're holding what is that in your hand? Did you have
this, like a little thing?
Yeah, I either do that or I hold a crystal and I kind of put it through my fingers too.
That's so funny.
What is it called? It's like a
stress ball.
Yeah, stress ball.
Yeah. And it's just sometimes, you get sort of, well,
my hair.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's so interesting.
Anything that helps. Anything that helps. Yeah.
I love it. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on and joining me on the podcast. This has been a lot of fun. We're going to go live here in just a minute on Instagram, so I'm super excited about that. So thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Nice speaking with you.
You too. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.